Okay, picture this if you can. Billions, literally billions, of tiny birds, hundreds of species flying through the darkness. It's this incredible ancient journey happening right above us.
An epic migration, yeah.
It-
Guided by systems perfected over, well, millions of years.
Exactly. It pushes them to the very limits of their capabilities. It's really awe-inspiring when you stop and think about it. But um, here's where we come in. There's this modern twist, a human-made problem.
Artificial light at night, Alan.
Right, light pollution. And it's seriously disrupting these ancient journeys. It's like an unseen danger zone up there.
And that's what we're diving into today. We'll look at the science, how exactly these lights mess with the birds' navigation.
The scale of it, too.
Oh, the scale is huge. But crucially, we'll also talk about solutions. Because this is a big conservation issue, yes, but it's also surprisingly solvable. Many solutions are quite simple.
Yeah, that's the hopeful part.
Yeah.
And you'll learn some amazing things, like how birds can actually, see the Earth's magnetic field.
It sounds like science fiction, but it's real.
Or how just flipping a switch, literally one light switch, could save so many lives. Okay, let's unpack this. So first off, why fly at night? Seems risky, maybe.
Well, it actually offers some big advantages. For one, the air is generally calmer at night.
Okay, less turbulence.
Exactly. And it's cooler, which is important when you're flying hundreds or thousands of miles. Less energy expended.
Makes sense.
And maybe the biggest plus, fewer predators. Most hawks and falcons hunt during the day.
Ah, okay. Safety and darkness. And we're talking huge numbers, right? Billions of birds.
Billions, yes. Sparrows, warblers, thrushes, ducks, so many different kinds. And they play these vital roles in ecosystems.
Like what?
Well, pollinating plants, dispersing seeds, controlling insect populations. They're basically moving nutrients and energy across continents. Super important.
Okay, so it's crucial they make these journeys. How on earth do they navigate, especially at night?
It's fascinating. They use this multi-layered system, not just one method.
Like a toolkit.
Sort of, yeah. One key tool is celestial orientation, using the stars and the moon.
Like ancient sailors.
Kind of. Early planetarian studies, Stephen Emlin's work was pioneering here, showed birds actually learn the rotational patterns of constellations. They figure out the axis of rotation to get a north-south bearing.
Wow. So they're learning the sky's movement.
Pretty much. But
Yeah.
then there's the really wild one, magnetoreception.
Right, you mentioned this. Seeing the magnetic field. How?
Okay, get this. It's a quantum biological compass. Seriously.
Quantum.
Yeah, it's not like a needle pointing north. It's an inclination compass. They sense the angle of the Earth's magnetic field lines relative to gravity.
So more like sensing poleward versus equatorward.
Exactly that. And here's the kicker. It's a light-dependent chemical process. It happens in their eyes.
In their eyes.
Involves special light-sensitive proteins. Cryptochromes are the main candidates. They essentially allow the bird to perceive the magnetic field lines visually.
That is absolutely mind-blowing. So light helps them see the field.
Which, ironically, is why artificial light is such a problem for this specific sense. But there's more. They also have internal biological clocks.
Circadian rhythms, like us.
Exactly. Daily circadian rhythms and also annual circannual rhythms. These clocks regulate when they migrate, when they're active at night, even when they start packing on fat reserves for fuel.
So it's stars, magnetic fields, internal clocks, all working together.
Precisely. It's multimodal integration. They cross-reference these cues. The magnetic compass, for example, can help calibrate the star compass, especially if clouds obscure the sky.
But that means if one system gets messed up.
It can throw the others off kilter. And that light dependency of the magnetic sense, that's a critical vulnerability in our modern world.
Which brings us squarely to artificial light at night, Alan.
Yeah.
It just crashes into this ancient, delicate system.
Fundamentally interferes with it, yeah.
And it's not a minor issue. Urban sky glow, that sort of dome of light over cities, it's been increasing like crazy, maybe 10% a year in North America recently.
That sounds about right. It's blurring out the very environment these birds evolved to navigate by.
So how does it actually disrupt them? What are the mechanisms?
Well, first, it causes direct disorientation and navigational interference. The bright city lights just swamp the natural cues.
Washes out the stars.
Washes out the stars, yeah.
Right.
But it can also directly interfere with magnetoreception by effectively bleaching the photopigments in their eyes needed for that sense. This kind of intense ground-based light just didn't exist for most of evolutionary history.
They're just not equipped for it.
Not at all. Then there's the second big problem, the lure effect. Birds are actively drawn towards light sources.
like moths to a flame.
Exactly. It's called positive phototaxis. Radar studies are really clear on this. You can see birds migrating over rural areas, then suddenly diverting towards brightly lit cities and landing there.
So the lights pull them off course.
They do. Areas with strong sky glows consistently show higher concentrations of migrating birds stopping over. They become these large-scale ecological traps.
There's that really striking example from New York City, isn't there? The Tribute in Light Memorial.
Ah, yes. A very powerful and sad illustration. Those two huge beams of light shooting miles into the sky.
What happens to the birds there?
Studies showed bird density inside those beams can be, well, over 20 times normal, sometimes up to 150 times higher than the surrounding airspace.
Wow.
They get trapped. They just circle and circle inside the light cones, calling out, burning up critical energy reserves they need for their migration, just stuck.
That's awful. But there was a crucial finding from that, right? Something about turning the lights off.
Yes, and this is key. Researchers found that if they turn the tribute lights off, even for just 20 or 30 minutes,
What happened?
the birds dispersed almost immediately. They just resumed their migration, heading in the right direction.
So the effect is immediate and reversible.
Instantly reversible. It shows clearly that removing the light pollution source eliminates the disorientation right away. That's incredibly important for finding solutions.
It really is. Because this isn't just about birds getting delayed or a bit confused. The consequences are much, much worse.
Oh, absolutely. The most direct and brutal consequence is collisions. Mass mortality events.
Birds flying into buildings.
Into windows, towers, communication masts. Anything in these lit-up urban environments, the numbers are just staggering. Estimates range from, say, 365 million up to nearly 1 billion birds per year in North America alone.
Billion birds a year.
Worldwide, yes, that's the ballpark figure researchers often use. It's a massive conservation crisis happening largely unseen at night.
Are there specific places known for this?
Definitely. Long-term studies, like in Chicago and Cleveland, recorded tens of thousands of songbird collisions over decades. Just last October, 2023, almost 1,000 birds died in one night, hitting one building in Chicago, the McCormick Place Convention Center.
One building, one night. 1,000 birds.
Yeah. And in New York City, monitoring suggests maybe 250,000 birds killed annually by collisions citywide. But here's something important. It's not just skyscrapers. That's a common misconception. Most collisions actually happen at buildings shorter than 4 stories, including residential homes.
So it's happening everywhere, even in our houses.
Exactly. It makes it everyone's issue. And there's another tragic twist involving their calls.
Their flight calls.
Yeah.
The sounds they make at night.
Right. Species that use these calls a lot, think white-throated sparrows, many warblers, thrushes, they have much higher collision rates.
Why?
Because when they get disoriented by the lights and start calling in confusion or distress, those calls attract other birds of the same species into the danger zone.
Oh no, so their social instincts betray them.
Precisely. What normally helps them stay together becomes a deadly amplifier in these light-polluted areas.
Beyond the collisions, what else happens? You mentioned wasted energy.
Yes, the energetic cost is huge. Circling in beams of light, or even just being drawn off course into cities, means they burn through precious fat reserves without making any progress south or north.
Leaving them exhausted.
Exhausted, weakened, and much more vulnerable to predators, starvation, or just not having the energy to complete the migration later.
And does it mess with their timing too? Like when they start or end migration?
It absolutely can.
Ah.
Allen can shift their migratory timing. There was a study on purple martins, for instance. Those exposed to light pollution left their wintering grounds 8 days earlier than normal.
8 days early. Why is that bad?
It can lead to a mismatch. They arrive on their breeding grounds before their food sources, like insects, have emerged.
So they starve.
It can lead to starvation or reduced breeding success, yeah. It lowers their overall fitness, even if they manage to avoid a direct collision.
It seems like it disrupts their whole life cycle.
It really gets down to their fundamental biology. Think about those biological clocks we mentioned. Artificial light extends their day.
Right.
So birds like American robins or northern mockingbirds might sing much earlier in the morning or later into the evening near streetlights, nearly an hour longer in some cases.
What does that do to them?
It can mean sleep deprivation, which impacts cognitive function, just like in humans. It can alter their songs, mess with hormonal balances. It's a systemic disruption. If we connect this to the bigger picture, It's affecting their very physiology.
Okay, so the problem is clearly vast and deeply concerning. But you said science is catching up, giving us answers.
Yes, the research is really accelerating, and it's pointing towards solutions. Radar, for example, has become critical.
Radar, like for weather.
Exactly. Biologists now use weather radar data extensively. It's probably the most important tool for tracking broad-scale movements. It clearly shows birds being drawn towards brightly lit urban areas. Sky glow is a top predictor of where they congregate.
So we can see the attraction happening on a massive scale.
We can. And we're also learning about the type of light. Wavelength matters.
You mentioned blue light earlier.
Right. Experiments showed that short wavelength light, like blue and white light, is by far the most attractive to nocturnal migrants.
And red light.
Long wavelength red light attracts almost none. That's a huge clue for mitigation. Choosing the right color temperature for outdoor lights is critical.
That seems like a relatively simple fix, potentially.
It can be. Then there's that amazing study from Chicago's McCormick Place, the one you mentioned earlier with the mass collision.
Right. 40,000 birds over 40 years at one building.
Dr. Benjamin Van Doren analyzed that data. He found that reducing the percentage of illuminated windows, say from 75% lit down to 50% lit,
What was the effect?
it could prevent over half of those deaths. More than 50% reduction in mortality just by dimming or turning off some lights.
That's incredibly direct, cause and effect.
Absolutely. The study also found wind direction played a big role there.
Wind, how so?
In Chicago, winds blowing from the west dramatically increased collisions.
Why west winds?
Because they push migrating birds towards the shore of Lake Michigan. The lake runs north-south, so birds concentrate along the shoreline to avoid flying over that huge expanse of open water. More birds concentrated near buildings means higher collision risk when those buildings are lit.
That level of detail is amazing. It lets us predict risk, doesn't it?
Exactly, which leads to things like collision forecasting.
How does that work?
Researchers combine weather forecasts looking for things like fog, low cloud ceilings, those risky wind conditions with radar data showing migration intensity, and past collision records.
To predict high-risk nights.
Precisely. Cities can then issue targeted lights out advisories, asking buildings to dim or extinguish lights specifically on those nights when the danger is greatest.
And this is actually happening.
Yes. This kind of research directly influenced New York City's 2022 law requiring city buildings to reduce lighting during migration seasons. It makes conservation efforts much more efficient.
It's fantastic that the science is leading directly to policy. But one question still lingers. Why are they drawn to light in the first place? Is it just confusion?
That's still the big question, really. Scientists aren't 100% sure. As Dr. Van Doren suggested, it probably overrides their deep, ancient programming.
Meaning?
For millions of years, the only significant lights at night came from above the moon, the stars. There was no evolutionary pressure to avoid bright lights at ground level. So now, confronted with our cities, their instinct perhaps says, fly towards the light, tragically leading them into danger.
Their ancient wiring gets hijacked by our modern world.
That seems like a good way to put it.
Okay, this has been, well, sobering. But you stressed the hopeful part. This is solvable.
It absolutely is. Because we cause it, we can stop it. And many of the solutions are really quite straightforward, even cost-effective.
So what are the key strategies?
Top of the list are lights out campaigns. These are organized efforts, usually during the peak spring and fall migration months.
Asking buildings to turn off non-essential lights.
Exactly. Often from about 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., dozens of U.S. cities have Audubon Lights Out programs, and they work. Lights Out Texas saw an 11-fold decrease in collisions during one spring season.
11 times fewer collisions?
It's dramatic. And remember, the tribute in light. Birds disperse within minutes when the lights go off. The positive effect is immediate.
What about the type of lighting we use? You mentioned color.
Yes, bird-friendly lighting characteristics are crucial. Color first, switch to warm-colored lights, amber or yellow LEDs, ideally with a color temperature below 3000 Kelvin.
Avoid the cool white and blue lights.
Definitely avoid those. They are much less attractive to birds. Then there's brightness or intensity. We just use too much light often. Reduce high-lumen floodlights. Use lower-level diffuse lighting.
And how the light is directed.
Critical. Fixtures should be fully shielded. That means no light escapes upwards or sideways, only downwards where it's needed. Look for dark sky compliant fixtures. Eliminate uplighting and horizontal glare.
That makes sense for saving energy too.
Totally. Then there are timing controls. Simple stuff. Timers, dimmers, motion sensors. Ensure lights are only on when and where they're actually needed. shutting off lights after business hours or after midnight.
Even those short breaks help.
Right. Even 15-20-minute dark breaks can allow trapped birds to escape and reorient. Every little bit helps.
What about the buildings themselves, making windows safer?
Yes, bird-friendly building design is key, both for new construction and retrofits. Using glass that birds can see is the goal. Things like acid-etched glass, fritted glass, which has patterns baked in, or frosted glass.
And for existing windows.
You can apply visual markers, films, decals, stripes, dots. The key is the spacing. Research shows the markers need to break up the reflection, with gaps no larger than about 2 inches high by 4 inches wide.
That's specific.
That's the standard based on bird flight behavior and vision. It makes the glass visible as a barrier. Remember McCormick Place? They retrofitted windows with a dotted film pattern and saw a dramatic drop in collisions.
Proof that it works.
It absolutely works. And
Right.
finally, we need policy and public awareness.
Like the laws in New York and Illinois.
Exactly. Requiring bird-safe building standards, mandating lights out for public buildings during migration, but also grassroots efforts. Public outreach is huge.
Like local Audubon chapters.
Yes, groups like Houston Audubon, with their Lights Out Houston, provide toolkits and raise awareness. Even simple things homeowners can do, like closing blinds or curtains at night, make a difference, especially on lower floors.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the main message here?
I think it's that light pollution is a serious, growing threat. It's disrupting millions of years of evolution, causing immense mortality, wasting birds' energy. It's bad.
Oh, look.
But it's also one of the most solvable environmental problems we face. We know what causes it, we know how to fix it, and the fixes often save energy and money.
A true win-win.
Absolutely. Reducing urban light, especially during migration, offers immediate benefits for birds. We can give them safer passage almost overnight.
It's quite profound when you think about it. The night sky.
Yeah.
It's been this constant guide for life forever, and we've unintentionally obscured it.
We have.
But by acting now with these solutions, in our own homes, in our communities, we're not just saving birds, are we? We're kind of restoring a natural rhythm, something essential for the planet, and maybe for us too.
Well said. It's about protecting this incredible natural spectacle, but also about reclaiming the night sky itself.
So maybe the next time you're out on a clear night, look up. Imagine those billions of tiny travelers passing overhead. And think about how we can help clear their path just by being a little more mindful of our lights.